Hello, Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you, Sam?
Right, so today's topic is about the elections, upcoming elections, and what do you think about representation at the moment?
Well, I can only talk about what I know. I mean, we all go on our experience, and I'm going to talk about the town of Blackburn. I think that Blackburn is unrepresented by Asian females. It is totally unrepresented by Asian females. I mean, I have seen the councillors that are there, and it's really sad. I mean, why are I mean, do you know, I know a lot of women that want to go for office. I mean, do you know of any women that want to go for office?
Yeah, I knew a few ladies. We did have a meeting actually, because Labour is underrepresented represented by females anyway. And we had a meeting. We sat down, we discussed it, and I've never heard anything more about it. So I just left it.
Well, I mean, it's Blackburn as a town is male dominated, and dare I say it is male oppressed, and it's really quite sad that there is no representation. There is no female British Asian councillor. There's lots of women who want to go for that post, but unfortunately the impression I'm getting is people aren't voting for a person based on policy, based on actions. They are voting on who that person's dad is. So what's happening is, within the Asian culture, there is like brotherlyism, it's tribalism. People are voting for that person's dad rather than what they've done, what they're going to do, and what they can do. What do you think?
Yeah, and I think that's really important, because it's supposed to be on policies, and it's supposed to be on actions. What have you done? And can anybody list down all the things that these councillors have actually done? It's all about who they're related to, unfortunately, and I totally agree.
So you've been there in meetings where women have, lots of women, I mean, I'd love to be a Blackburn councillor. I mean, there's lots of women who, we feel that we are in a position, we're passionate about our local area, we're passionate about our local town. I mean, some of us would gladly serve the office for free. I mean, how many women have been rejected that you know of who want Asian women in Blackburn?
This is it. I mean, we've got loads of people doing really good work in the community, and they're doing it for free as volunteers. So they want to step it up or go on to the next level. I mean, I'm a governor in one of the schools, and I think that's really important, that we want to take the next step. We don't just want to be seen as parents, but we want to go above that and serve our local community.
So rather than just be an audience, you want to oversee a town that has your interests at heart, and female representation.
Absolutely,
Asian female
absolutely.
representation. There is none in Blackburn. There is no Asian female representation, and that is very sad.
Well, we try, we put our names out there and we do as much as we can, but
they've boxed it off for themselves because they're dads, and it's an old boys club. It's the old boys network. Who your dad is, who your uncle is. You've got that candidate. You've got that ward. That's yours.
Yeah, and I've heard in other towns as well. We're not just talking about Blackburn, but in other towns where it's predominantly the Asians, they have actually sort of, I don't know, dominated.
Who your dad is, who your uncle is, and it's always the male system. I mean, I will bring this up. I mean, I'm not going to name names, but there are some male councillors. I mean, unfortunately, I mean, if you look at their own home matrix, like I said earlier, 2 of the Blackburn Asian male councillors, their own sisters were 20 seconds away from being murdered by their husbands. And one of the male councillors, Asian male councillors, when his dad died, then all the inheritance went to the sons. They didn't give anything to the daughters. So it's like they're not in favour of protecting the female interest. I mean, like I said, the male councillor, when his dad died, he took it all. The women were so oppressed, they didn't even contest, the inheritance, the estate. They knew straight away that they've got no right in it, because they have brought the cultural and the tradition into their way of life. So
but by law they should have given
through probate.
Yeah.
But where culture, religion, I mean, the people, they've imported their culture, and rather than do the British way of life, they've brought the village way of life, they brought the Pakistan way of life, and the daughters, they're being denied inheritance in Blackburn. And like I said, 2 of the male candidates, their sisters were 20 seconds away from being murdered, and there was no police action. So that these male counsellors, they're not doing anything to protect their sisters. They're not doing anything to protect their sisters' rights, their inheritance. And they are more concerned with honour, keeping the family honour, because the police weren't allowed to be called, because, you know, if the police comes to their house, you know, there's the whole honour thing. So it's like they would rather have their sister's corpse than lose their honour and lose face by having the police coming to protect their sisters. Now, this is a town where...
That's pretty backward, that. I'm quite shocked to hear that, to be honest with you. Obviously, we don't want to Sharia law here, but to hear that in this day and age, it's just shocking.
Well, I mean, Blackburn is, I mean, you know, there's a lot of successful Asian businesses, and if, heaven forbid, one of the business proprietors was to pass away, everything would automatically go to the son. The daughters, even though they are entitled to it by English law, by Islamic law, they wouldn't see it. And the daughters know better than to stake a claim, because they're oppressed. And the Asians, I mean, you know, if they had a voice, an Asian female represented them saying, no, domestic abuse is wrong. Domestic abuse is wrong. And, you know, we're entitled to
intimidation.
Yeah.
It's everything, isn't it?
I mean, they've even told who to vote for. I mean, it's like, it's not vote for Labour. It's like, not vote for him who's going to do this. Vote for his son. Vote for his nephew. They don't know anything else. They know the nephew's name, and they don't vote for him in the ballot box and vote there. And what are your thoughts on that?
I totally disagree. I think it shouldn't be happening, not in this day and age. I think we've worked really, really hard over the years to get into those positions, and I think we should be utilising this political system to benefit us, to benefit our community, to benefit our mothers, our sisters, our daughters. And the only way to do that is to bring about change and to bring about progress.
And do you think that if there was female representation, do you think that, you know, there'll be more equality in Blackburn? I mean, there is oppression there. Do you think if we had a Asian female counsellor actually representing us, it would be better for us in the long run?
Well, I think we've already seen that happen, where in Bradford, in Manchester, where there is female representation, a lot of benefits come with that, and a lot of high-profile people have actually been able to progress. And, you know, when you look at the MPs, they're able to change the laws, they're able to benefit the girls, you know, and put in laws and structures so to protect females as much as possible.
I mean, it's hate crime week. I mean, you know, has Blackburn done anything for hate crime? I mean, you know, like equality for women. I mean, you know, they will fly the flag and say Islamophobia, but what about when women are attacked? What about when disabled people are attacked? What about elder abuse? I mean, heaven forbid, if you're Blackburn, if you live in Blackburn, and if you're an Asian, and if you identify yourself as LGBT, just leave Blackburn.
I think over the years there are some community workers that are doing some really, really good work, but I think it's few and far between, and I think more needs to be done, a lot more in the mainstream.
So Labour Party, I mean, you know, please, there's a lot of very capable of Asian women. There's a lot of capable Asian women. Why are you denying them an opportunity to serve and represent their wards?
Yeah, I totally agree. So if I'll put a link in the comments box, so if anyone has any comments, you can do that. And thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for your hospitality as always. You're always very hospitable to me.
Okay, bye.